James, if you love the advice I give out, go to my Patreon page, please, and join for as little as $1, I believe, right now, because the dollars are not sold out. You can join me on Patreon, and I will do a happy dance on Instagram and a shout out for you all once you join. So definitely join there. Anyway, if you want to talk to me, please, Raja Khan, go to Patreon. Patreon, I'll pin this, okay? Every day I have to do this so that people know how to find me. KarenLee. It's pretty easy. It's patreon.com/KarenLee. Very, very simple. Okay. Anyway, here goes. So my question, no, I'm not a Trump supporter, Anthony. Obviously, I'm not a Trump supporter. I mean, I shouldn't say obviously, but if you know me, you know that I wouldn't be a Trump supporter at all. But anyway, I have a wonderful man in my life. He's been there for 9.5 years. And today he said thank you because he said, I want you to help me organize my goals and my day, basically, because he has ADD. And I am always happy to help anybody, especially someone I love, with anything in their life. And I just wanted to explain that having someone in your life that has like a mental or a physical disability is really tough because on the partner, obviously. So what I've done to understand ADD, because I have a little touch of it, I think everybody has a little touch of ADD, but his is more on the severe side, is I've read a lot of books on it, and after being with him for a long time, I know that it's very difficult to live with ADD, ADHD, and so I know that probably you guys have been with women, or you might have learning or physical disabilities. I thought it would be a good topic to discuss today. So, Anna-Kat, you're talking about Trump still? Let's see. I feel bad and sad that some people don't respect a woman and have absolutely great job for society. How is it doing an absolutely great job? Yeah, thank you very much. Anyway, so I thought if you have had any experience with ADD, dyslexia, and depression, these are all mental type illnesses to work with or to face as a partner. It's hard, right? Trump is great in your opinion. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so if you have a physical disability or mental disability that your partners had to deal with, let me know and tell me how you're dealing with it. I'm really curious as to what you think. I dated someone who has a borderline personality disorder, Jonathan. And how did that go? And was it hard? Ezekiel, did you go to university? Yes, I went to a bachelor's and a master's degree in social work. So I have the therapeutic background. Yes, I do, along with my comedic background. Trump is dumb. Okay, thank you, Jordanian Dubai. How did we get on Trump anyway? I'm trying to talk about physical and mental disabilities or challenge. Let's get rid of the word disability. Let's say challenge. Challenges are tough because, especially if you don't have the same challenge, it's hard to understand. For example, for me, I would have a hard time understanding someone with depression because I don't have depression. I'm usually like a very optimistic, positive person. But I know that must be very hard for people that have depression. And when you're going through depression, it must be very difficult on your partner. And thank you for saying I have great cleavage, Roman. Talk about ADD. I feel like this live stream is ADD sometimes. I mean, we're going from Trump to what's my favorite TV show to learning disabilities. Let's see. I know someone that got sacked from their job because he has OCD. Yeah, OCD is another one that's really hard. And it's really tough to be, challenged with it your entire life when there is really no cure per se. Physical and mental disability reminds me of Trump. Oh, I see. Okay, I see why you brought that up. Yes, I think you got a point there. He has a narcissistic personality disorder, in my opinion, but that's just me. OCD is a gift, I think, within reason. Roman, why is it a gift? That's really interesting. Phillips Charles, you grew up in Highland Park. Oh, cool. Roman Cruz, thank you. I love you too. So, My God. Okay, Bryson, I was depressed for 10 plus years and I think I had a learning challenge. So how did you deal with it, Bryson? Did you get help mental? Did you go to a therapist or did you get on medication? What did you deal with it and how did it affect your relationships? Oh, Roman Goo, you think that people that have OCD can be neat and organized? Yeah, I mean that could be looked at as a plus too. That's true as well. Very good point there, Roman. Um, she did crazy stuff, Jonathan. So, what happened with that? Did you seek help? Did you read a lot of books? Did you have a hard time dealing with her? And how did that end? And is it that the reason it ended, or are you still with her? It said dated, so I imagine that's gone. Paul, I have seen a man with extreme ADD develop and run a successful company. Disabilities can be overcome sometimes. Yeah, I think that you can. And I like what I forgot who said this, that you see it as a gift. OCD, Roman. I like what you're saying, Paul, because sometimes you could, and that's what I try to do, and that's why I brought this up, is that sometimes I take his ADD as a plus because we can walk into any place, and the next thing I know, because he has no filters, because of his ADD, he will talk to anyone and say anything. And most of the time, it makes a lot of great friends, and it gets us in a lot of places, and we get a lot of free drinks and things like that. So having ADD, although it's very annoying sometimes when, there's no follow through and things like that happen because of the ADD, it's also a great positive thing when he's spontaneous and does things, at the spur of the moment, where a lot of people will think things through. Like, I'll give you an example. The other day I said to him, what do you think if we go to a BDSM club and just watch? And he's like, I'm in. Whereas most other people might think, maybe I want to think about that first. So, yeah. Okay, there you go. Let's see. Hey there, MILFman and Mr. Piratebrain. Jonathan, OCD is not a gift. Well, why, Jonathan? Let's see. Tashin, OCD can stop you from doing things you want to do. That is true. So, like I said, for every yin, there's a yang. Oh, I'm not wearing that necklace today. But if you can, OCD is a tough one, because if someone just, won't walk in a room because there's a certain, pattern on the floor that they can't walk on, like the movie It's As Good As It Gets, it can be a big challenge if they, if the OCD is affecting your life, it's very, very hard. Okay. I didn't know that David Beckham suffers OCD. Thank you, Tashin. What does OCD mean? It means obsessive compulsive disorder. When someone doesn't want to have their food mixed together. There's varying degrees of all these mental and physical illnesses, obviously. For example, ADD, there's ADHD and there's ADD, that's attention deficit disorder. And it could be very severe over here, and it could be very mild. I have a mild case of it, being that I'm like bouncing all over the place sometimes when I'm trying to do things. Oh, maybe I'll go straight in the house, and then I'll say, oh, well, I forgot to write this email, and then I'll go over here and I forgot to eat this, I forgot to let the dogs out, and I'm all over the place. So that's kind of ADD, attention deficit disorder, but I can focus when I need to, or I can be very organized. But OCD, you can be someone that will refuse to walk into a room because of a certain color floor, or you can just say, hey, I just want my entire house organized by colors. It really depends. Thank you, Mr. Pirate Bank, for saying I'm looking gorgeous. So Jonathan, you did break up, and Howard Hughes had an advanced case of OCD where he didn't even leave his house after a while. Exactly. If you're hearing this drinking going on, this is Yogi, and we'll show you Yogi here. I know Instagram people, he is deciding right now would be a good time to drink a lot of water. Let's see. I know a guy who dated a woman with bipolar disorder. A key symptom of bipolar disorder is sexual promiscuity. He dealt with it a lot. Yeah, there you go. Bipolar can be really hard, because I know people that it has destroyed their life because they just couldn't, they stopped taking their medication. They went like from manic to depressive, and it just got really, really difficult to be with. And it can end up having really serious implications for both the person and the person that you're with. It creeps me on now. It creeps up on you now. Bryson saying about your issues. It creeps up on you now and then, but I've been getting counseling for the past month, but I haven't had it for 2 or 3 years. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing with all these disorders. It's not ever going to be cured. It's never going to be like, I'm done with my depression, because it's going to come back. Anxiety. It's never going to be that you're going to be done with anxiety. And I know people, and I also suffer anxiety as well. Sometimes I get very anxious. The only thing I can say about that is you can get all kinds of counseling for it, and you can do meditation for it, and you can take medication. So a lot of times you'll see me wearing the t-shirts that says heavily meditated. It's because I do a lot of breathing and meditation and work on my anxiety. So I think everyone, if you really look at your whole person, has some issue they're working with, whether it's anxiety, depression, ADD, OCD, any kind of bipolar disorder, or any kind of even narcissistic disorder. If you know that you have this tendency to be very self-centered and narcissistic, it's a tough one to treat, but you can get help if you really want to. Let's see. Some people who had OCD have to repeat things over and over. Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. Anxiety must be a genetic based. I'm Cam. Thank you, Paul. Hi, Ari. OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder. Right. Mr. Piratebrain, Danielle Steele wrote a great book about her son being bipolar and committing suicide. Wow. She normally writes fiction. Yeah, I mean, the bipolar situation can lead to self-medicating with drugs. And that's another really sad thing. I had a friend who committed suicide 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? Yeah, it might be going on 3 years ago in September. One of my best friends committed suicide, and I had no idea that she had any kind of mental illness. None. I just had no clue. And she one day just ended up killing herself. It was a horrible, horrible time in my life. We are humans, and we are full of mistakes and sins. Thank you, Jordan. No one is perfect. Exactly. Let's see. How did you learn these things, Vinny? Well, for one of the thing is that I am curious about a lot of these things, so I read a lot. I have unfortunately experienced a lot of these firsthand. Like I said, my boyfriend, who I've been with for 9.5 years, has pretty I want to say moderate to severe ADHD. So I've been with him. I know what that's like. I've seen the challenges that are affected by this. And like I said, there's positive and negative, and you have to learn a lot about it if you're living with someone. So if you do have a partner who has any kind of illness, like if your partner has anxiety, don't leave that person. Don't leave because the person has anxiety. Help that person. And, try to understand and try to be in that person's shoes and listen to that person. That person with anxiety needs you to rely on. And sometimes you have to understand that it's an illness and not necessarily something that you need to leave the person for. Just be there for that person. That's what life is about, and especially partnership and relationships is about. At least this is what I think. Bryson, I made you socially awkward around women. My learning challenge is comprehension. So that's interesting, because you can have trying to comprehend something, and it can affect you socially. And there's no question that people with learning disabilities and ADD, it can affect you in social situations too, because you don't really have control over some of the things that you say and do. If you have ADD, and if you have a learning problem, you don't understand how people can act this way, and you don't understand how you're supposed to respond. So a lot of it is just life and getting counseling like you're doing, Bryson. You're really incredible. Okay, so where was I here? I'm so happy that today most of the people on Instagram are being very respectful and are enjoying this conversation too. Let's see. My ex wants to get back together, Jonathan. So that's something you're going to have to work through, and maybe make sure that if she's getting back together, that you figure out what's going to change this time around. Is she getting counseling? Is she on medication and staying on it? Because if she has bipolar disease or disorder, she needs to be on medication. She needs to take stuff to stabilize her. Oh, you just joined. What is ADD? Trilobit. So, and by the way, just so you know, I talked to my boyfriend this morning. I said, listen, can I talk about this? Because other people have requested that I talk about being with a partner that has a learning disability. And he said yes. So I'm not doing anything like behind his back or anything. Because he and I both agree that it's super important for partnerships to work to understand each other's issues and to try to help each other and to try to focus on the positives. So I would say that if your partner, try a little bit, has this bipolar disorder, to find out what can happen, what she's done to work on that, and maybe even go into couples counseling to make sure she stays on it. And you guys can go to counseling together, and I highly recommend going to counseling for any couple, no matter if you have any physical and mental illnesses, whatever, because it really helps communicate. And everybody needs help in communication now and then. Mr. Piratebrain, hey, maybe Trump's family can get group therapy for narcissistic illness. I got to say that from what I know about narcissism, it is the hardest. What if you join Patreon? Oh, I would love it if you join Patreon, Vinny. Narcissistic disorder, it came from the Greek mythology, when Narcissus, the Greek god, looked into his reflection in the water and fell in love with himself and became very selfish. And that is how the term came to be. And when you're really narcissistic, you don't have any feeling or conscious or care about other people, and it's a sad situation because all you care about is yourself and getting your needs met, and it's the hardest disease to treat, unfortunately. Does this taste good, this thing? This tastes great. It's like blueberry, banana, greens, Garden of Life, raw fat, protein, and almond milk. And again, I don't get any kind of rewards for telling you about this, but I will leave a link in the description box below if you want to order Garden of Life with through Amazon or something. One can die if he has OCD. I think everyone can die. I don't know necessarily that it is a death sentence, but by any means. Hi, Caesar from Peru. Let's see. Where were we? I'm so sorry here. Sorry to ask. Okay. Jonathan, she was crazy jealous. And I'm sure that's part of her bipolar disorder, that she's like, paranoid. There's paranoia that goes with it. That's like, you think that that the thoughts are irrational. So, it's up to you if you want to get back together. It's a hard illness to deal with, a very hard one. And I don't know how severe it was, and I don't know if she's being treated now. So it's something that you have to work through. It's just my opinion. You were tested when you were a kid for depression, Bryson? My uncle was bipolar. Tashin, how was that? Was it tough? He has bipolar, so he's alive. Hi, Victor. You looked it up on Wikipedia. Tribal. Okay, Jonathan. She has borderline personality disorder, not bipolar disorder. I dated a girl who had bipolar disorder. Oh, okay. I'm borderline personality disorder could be more like schizophrenia. Is that what you're saying? And you're saying that's not what she had. She had bipolar, manic depressive disorder. Is that what you're saying? Again, I'm not a psychiatrist, and I'm not even someone who's qualified to speak about these diseases other than my own opinion. Hi, Harry. I believe diet can be an important factor in mental health. Good call there. Absolutely, especially with ADD. You don't want to give an ADD person a lot of sugar or a lot of caffeine. Bryson, sometimes I can't comprehend what happens to me. For instance, what happened to me on my date. That's an interesting. Well, what happened on your date? Which date are you referring to? Because I can't remember everybody's date, unfortunately. But what happened? The Canadian Daily. My ex was bipolar. It was a lot of you guys had bipolar exes, and I think even my boyfriend said he had one too. It's really, really difficult sometimes if they are going into this one extreme. See, I think it's like these two polar extremes are inside of the person. Let's see. it was a rough time for sure. She would not take her meds at all, and my child and I took a lot of abuse, but at the same time, people need to help themselves. She eventually took off. Oh, I'm sorry, Canadian Daily. That's a tough one. And Tashin, you're saying that your uncle handles it well. So again, there's people that have these disorders that they learn to cope with them, and they learn to take medicine, and they get therapy for them. And like Bryson, you're improving because you're working on yourself, and that's the whole thing. If people are willing to work on their issues, which I'm here to say that my boyfriend is absolutely trying to get help with his, and has, throughout his life. And I've seen a great improvement in the 9.5 years I've been with him, but it's still always going to be there. It's never going to be cured. You know what I mean? Let's see. I think it can be difficult to diagnose if expressivity varies. Many might not even know if they are affected. True. A lot of people don't know if they have it. Hey, Dennis. Sorry about that. Mr. Piratebrain, they're doing research on magic mushrooms and depression with good results. I saw it on TED Talks. Oh, well, I would not try that until the research is in. I can't imagine if you have depression and you take magic mushrooms, and it could go the other way. But maybe it works, so who knows? Hey, Hurt Locker. Oh, Jonathan, she tried to kill herself. Yeah, like I said, I had no idea. One of my very, very best friends had depression to the extent that she did, and she did succeed in killing herself. What's the percentage of the disease? I don't know. All over the world, I don't know. Yeah, you're late, Hurt Locker. Bryson, I couldn't vocalize what happened. I couldn't vocalize what's happening to me. I was tested for the comprehension. Let's see. Paul Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory has Asperger's, which explains his inability to relate. That's another very difficult thing. A friend of mine was married to someone with Asperger's, which is a form of autism. It's not as severe as autism. Again, we're talking about a continuum, and depending on how bad that Asperger's is, but that Asperger's is a tough one too, because they have a hard time connecting with people. That's a really tough one to be a partner of. What are we talking about? Mental illness, Hurt Locker, and physical illness, and how that affects partnerships. Oh, shoot. Here, sorry. What is going on here? Oh, my God. People are outside yelling. Mr. Piratebrain says, don't feel bad, Bryson. I don't understand what's going on most of the time. Yeah, Bryson, I think a lot of people don't get women in general or men in general, so maybe that isn't really have anything to do with your comprehension. Hi, mommy? No, I don't want to be called mommy unless it's some sort of a term of endearment in your country. Fuck off. Every day this guy Banjo comes on and says fuck off. I don't get why. I guess the best thing for me to do is not to read it out loud, but sometimes it just makes me laugh. Jonathan, she's better now. She got help. Oh, well, Jonathan, then let me know how that goes. And maybe if you want to give it another shot, I would like to know what happens. Paul, the BDSM community is jam-packed with women that are bipolar because they fit in. Oh, that's interesting. So, like, if they're into BDSM, they feel they can express themselves on this end and that end. I don't know. That's an interesting concept. Hurt Locker, you're doing well. The subject we're talking about is mental illness and how it affects relationships. Aniket, people suffering from OCD and ADD really, or ADD, really they get mentally and physically disabled. Oh, yeah, you can get physically disabled, you're saying? I'm not sure about that, but maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Jonathan, she overdosed on pills. I'm so sorry. Bryson, we went back to her place. It was getting hot and heavy. She kept asking what I was thinking about and how it felt, and I couldn't vocalize it. Bryson, then just tell her that. Say, listen, I'm into what's going on, but I'm having a hard time verbalizing. And a lot of times, Bryson, that's not unusual. That if you're with someone and your heart's racing and you're into the physical thing, it's hard to talk. It's hard to you're just to say, I'm into this. I can't talk. Just tell her. Hurt Locker, you're a little autistic. Oh, okay. It explains why I cannot connect with some people. Well, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. You might be Asperger's, right? Um, me and her sister found her. Oh, Jonathan, that is it. Oh. So thank God you saved her, right? Let's see. Okay. So, oh God, it's 30 minutes already. I didn't even realize how long we've been talking. Men and women are two different species. Understanding each other can be like understanding your cat. You can empathize, but sometimes you just won't understand each other. Mr. Pirate Brain, you said it all. Okay, thank you all for joining me here on both Instagram. Make sure that you join me here on Patreon and on YouTube. Make sure you join me on Patreon. It supports my ability to take the time to do these videos for you. If you're not already a member, please join. There's some really interesting, funny, like unusual pictures and videos. Ministry. Oh, great. All is well here in Gulf Shores. Oh, I'm so glad. Awesome. Thank you for sharing and let me know what's happening. And get all your friends to come and join us on Instagram Live every day at 11 a.m. if possible. Let's see. I care for her, but I'm dating her sister. We are serious on many things why we can't get back together. Wow. Okay. Oh, wow. Ari, you're also a little bit autistic. Wow, this is crazy. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean it's unusual to find all these people. So as you can see, I'm going to go, but a lot of people here have some of these issues we've talked about, and it was a very interesting discussion for me to hear how people cope with it and to see how almost everyone has some form of a mental illness, like Asperger's, right, or OCD, or bipolar disorder, or ADHD, or depression, or learning disabilities. So I love you guys. Don't forget to like this video if you're watching it later on. I'm glad I brought it up. And that's it. All right. Take care. And have a great day. Love you. Love you guys. That's me kissing you.